We just added the Sony A1 to our camera lineup, and today I want to tell you the 8 things that I surprisingly really love about this camera. They're very specific to me, but hang in there and you'll probably find out something that you didn't know about the Sony A1. Here we go. Okay, the sun went behind the clouds and it is frigid here. I just checked the count and I've taken about 3,700 photos. I was really excited. My first 5 sets of photos, what do you call it? First light?
First light.
First light. My first light photos, that's what a lot of astronomers talk about with their telescope. My first light was, my first 5 sets were Steve, our dog Bailey, bald eagles, a coyote, and a rainbow. I mean, come on. We've had some really cool photo ops just in the last month. And we're out driving around this amazing natural area. You'll see that video next week. And I just wanted to give you the 8 things that I've been kind of happy about and a little bit surprised about with the A1. This is totally different than a lot of people. You can go online and look at the specs for this, but these are the things I thought were really cool and part of the reasons why we upgraded to this camera. Let me check my notes. Oh, okay. So number 1, nobody talks about this, okay? Nobody talks about this. And I tell you, it is a ginormous pain on the other cameras. The A9 II, the A7R4, the A7R3 all have this problem. And I'll show you what it is. Here's the A9 II, okay? See this little tiny spot right up at the top. There's this tiny little spot. And that is the sensor to say whether the camera should show you what's in the EVF or what's on the back screen. The problem is that gets dirty really quickly. And what they did with the A1 is they moved that sensor right there. So I can clean it off just like that. I don't need a Q-tip. I don't need a pen with a cloth. I can just clean the dust off that. It sounds like a small thing. But when you've been out and about and you get a little bit of grime on that sensor and you lift it to your eye and nothing shows up in the EVF, oh, that's irritating. Okay. So yes, thank you, Sony, for moving that sensor. Okay, number 2 is, just like everybody says, the menu system. So they've changed up the menu system. I'm gonna take my gloves off to show you the old versus the new. So you can see, maybe, on the A9 II, you have the old school, I don't know if you can see that, menu system. This is not a touch screen. This is your old school menu system. On the A1, it is now a touch screen and much, much prettier and easier to navigate. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to put some kind of screenshot up. But this is touchscreen, color-coded. It's basically the same system, but just laid out a little bit prettier. So Sony listened to all of us. They knew that their menu was not that awesome, and they changed it up a smidge. It's better. The menu system's better. That's my second one. Let me check my list. Oh, I gotta tell you, this is 50 megapixels, which is perfect. Steve shoots with the Sony A7R4, which has 61, and the problem with the A9 II is it's 24, which is fine. It's super fast, right? But if I've got a bird far away, it's hard to crop in. So 50 megapixels is perfect. If a bird or wildlife is really far away, you cannot always get close to them. So oftentimes I have to crop. And I just love, I think perfect is the 50 megapixels. It's twice as many as the A9 II and just as fast. So I'm loving the 50 megapixels. I think it's perfect. The fourth thing that I think is super cool about the A1 is it's called focus frame, focus frame display. So when you're on playback mode of your photos on the back screen, it shows a green box where it was focused. And I checked the A9 II, it doesn't have this feature. So I love being able to see at a glance where the focus picked up. Now, where they show it isn't always exactly like maybe the focus caught, but that's where the focus dot was, which I think is super helpful. It's very helpful to be able to see where that focus dot was. And it's cool because it's exactly whatever focusing type you've been on. So if I'm on single spot small, it's going to show that, or it's going to show medium. It shows exactly where that green box was when you focused. I think that's really helpful. Ooh, what's this, number 5? Number 5 is the bird IAF. Now, our other cameras have human and animal, which has been awesome, but adding bird in there is so cool. And I haven't been super close to a bird yet to really use that feature, but I've got it set where I have a button here that goes quickly from human to animal to bird. All I have to do is push the button down. So I have set this A1 up almost exactly what Mark Smith said in his A1 setup guide on YouTube. He does a lot of bird photography, so I've set this up almost like that. I also need it to work for my portrait and animal photography, so I've changed a couple of things, but if you want to see a really quick setup, Mark Smith has an excellent tutorial for bird photography and action photography. So love being able to switch from human to animal to bird. Very cool. All right, number 6, I love because I do a fair amount of video, is being able to switch from photos to videos and not lose your settings in each one. So what used to happen in the other cameras was, let's say I'm shooting stills and I'm on 2,000ths of a second, f6, 200 ISO, right? And then I switch over to video, all those settings are the same. So I'd have to scroll it down like, okay, I want 1/60th of a second at 2.8 at 400 ISO, something like that. And then as soon as I switch back to photo, it has those video settings still. Don't have to worry about that on the A1. Whatever you set for photo will stay. When you switch to video, those settings stay. And that is just gonna take so much hassle out of switching back and forth between photo and video. Love, love, love that. Now, number 7 is the high frame rate. So if all the stars align and you have all the settings just right, you can get 30 frames per second using the high plus on the dial. You have to have certain things set just right, but consider that most standard video is 24 frames per second to see a video. 30 frames per second is amazing. I haven't actually tried it out yet. I've seen some other YouTubers who have, but get all your settings right and you will probably never miss a shot. Love that. That's a new thing on the A1. What's the last one? And number 8, it won't always pertain to all of you, but the video function. You can do 8K video, you could do 4K 120. The video, they didn't really put much video capabilities in the A9 II, which is fine, but this is my backup camera for my regular portrait and video studio. And so I never really used the A9 II for video. Again, I've only had it a few weeks, so I haven't really tried out the video capabilities, but they're all there. All right, so that is the 8 things that I have surprisingly loved about the A1. I mean, I kind of knew I was gonna love it anyway, but those are some cool things in the way I use the camera that it's really gonna make my workflow more efficient and less like clumsy. And like I said, I followed the Mark Smith video and I've got all this custom buttons set up, so I almost never even have to move my eye away, and I've got everything right at my fingertips for whatever kind of photography I'm doing. And so far I've done wildlife and landscape. I did a portrait session in studio. We are out here, we got some pictures of bison, which you'll see in the next video. And yeah, I really loved it so far. I have a video plan comparing the A1 with the A9 II, so be sure you're subscribed, click the like, and then you'll see that coming up in the near future. And I think that's about it. Steve, anything I missed?
Link below for Mark Smith's video.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can put Mark Smith's video link in the comments, and I'll put a link to the A1 also, so you can go check out the specs for yourself. There's quite a few articles about it out there for the specs. I didn't want to just be another person who listed the specs. You can just look at those easily. But this is what's made the camera pretty awesome for me so far. So there you go, the 8 things I love about the Sony A1. All right, I'll see you in the next video, everyone. Bye. Tony Netherthorpe said it's the best camera in the world, so we're getting it. Just kidding. That's not why. Okay.